So welcome to the Earth Deeds series on understanding and responding to our climate impacts. This first video briefly explores the questions: what is climate change? Is it really happening? And are humans the cause of it? Further videos will explore potential future scenarios, how we're responding, and controversies and alternatives related to carbon offsetting. So let's begin. To understand climate change, we need to start by explaining the greenhouse effect. There are a variety of gases in the atmosphere that absorb and trap heat from the sun and aid in heating the Earth's surface and temperature. These gases literally act like a greenhouse around the Earth. This is a naturally occurring process and actually is essential for a livable planet. There's many gases that contribute toward the greenhouse effect. The most powerful is actually water vapor, but it only stays low in the atmosphere for a few days and cannot increase unless temperature increases first. As other greenhouse gases warm the planet, more water evaporates and enters the atmosphere, where it leads to even more warming. So, while water vapor exacerbates global warming, it's not a direct cause of global warming. The scientific way to say this is that water vapor is a feedback, not a forcing. On the other hand, carbon dioxide is evenly distributed throughout the atmosphere, persists for decades or even centuries, is produced more than any other greenhouse gas, and is responsible for most of the warming, which is why climate scientists tend to focus on carbon dioxide. And it's naturally cycling throughout the atmosphere, water, and land. The problem is we're now releasing CO2 that took millions of years to sequester, primarily from burning fossil fuels for electricity and transportation. You can think of it like a bathtub. You can release small flows or large flows, and you have a drain that can only draw off a certain amount in a given time. So if the sources of CO2 are larger than the ocean and land can soak up, the level of CO2 rises. And of course, this is exactly what's been happening since the Industrial Revolution. And atmospheric concentrations have been rising accordingly. This is the famous Keeling curve, which was the first significant evidence of rapidly increasing carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere since it was first recorded in 1958. So to better understand this dramatic rise, let's step back a bit and view a longer time frame. So using ice core data, scientists have discovered the level of CO2 has gone up and down over the hundreds of thousands of years that we've been able to measure. Variations in output from the sun, alterations in the Earth orbit, volcanic dust, comets, meteorites, they've all affected CO2 concentrations in our atmosphere. But for at least the last 650,000 years, levels have never risen above this line. That is, until now. Something very different has been happening since the Industrial Revolution. CO2 levels have risen to unprecedented levels and are driving a dramatic rise in global temperature. In this graph, you can see that temperature has risen and fallen pretty much in lockstep with global CO2 concentrations over the ages. So it is very likely we will also see an unprecedented rise in temperature in the coming years. Okay. So that's just a quick overview of climate change. And of course, the evidence I've just shared is really just the tip of the melting iceberg. If you want to go deeper, I encourage you to review the latest reports coming out of the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which describe the overwhelming consensus among thousands of climate scientists in dozens of countries that global warming is happening and that humans are the main cause. In the next video, we'll explore where this all might be heading. Thank you.